So you believe Blake Lively wrestled control of the film?
I think she tried to, yes.
Did she succeed in the end?
Probably, yeah.
Alright, here's the situation. Blake Lively is reportedly very worried about the witnesses Justin Baldoni and his legal team could bring into court. One of the biggest names expected to testify is a crew member who may have seen everything happen behind the scenes.
I think that there was a massive compromise in terms of Justin's original vision for the film.
Aaliyah Spencer worked as a storyboard artist on It Ends With Us, and she was part of the production from beginning to end. She wasn't just around for a short time, she worked closely with the team every day and watched the entire situation unfold firsthand. Reports say she witnessed the production problems as they happened, which could make her testimony extremely important in the case. What stands out is that Spencer doesn't seem to have any personal reason to take sides. She's not chasing publicity or trying to gain attention. She's simply someone who was there during it all and may now explain to the jury exactly what she experienced.
I think in film, everybody's always vying for power and control. I think that this is probably the most intense situation I've ever been in.
So, what could Spencer actually talk about in court? From what's being reported, she was present during many key moments and saw how decisions were made behind the scenes. She also observed Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni working together on a regular basis. Based on the information shared so far, her experience with Justin appears very different from the picture Blake Lively's side has been presenting.
In my opinion, I find it very hard to believe the allegations against him. And considering his mission statement about the film and him genuinely pitching that he was doing this film to help young women, I just find it hard to believe the allegations, to be honest.
Talia Spencer is reportedly ready to support the idea that Justin was respectful and truly focused on making a film that could positively impact people. According to her perspective, he wasn't trying to create a negative or uncomfortable workplace, he simply wanted to make a meaningful movie and do his job well. But the biggest point she may discuss is how Blake allegedly responded to Justin's behavior and intentions. That part of her testimony could become a major focus in court.
Maybe Blake smelled his kindness, mistook it for weakness, and tried to take advantage and take power, so.
According to these claims, Talia Spencer believes Blake Lively may have viewed Justin Baldoni's calm and kind nature as something that could be taken advantage of. For a jury, that could be a major detail to hear from someone who worked on set every single day and personally watched events unfold. What makes her testimony stand out is that she doesn't appear connected to either side in a personal way. She's not being presented as an outside expert, she's simply someone who witnessed the situation firsthand. And based on reports, her account challenges much of the story Blake Lively's legal team has been presenting. But Spencer may not be the only former crew member whose testimony could have a big impact on the trial. Another insider, Adam Shine, is also expected to speak, and his statements could become just as significant.
In response to Blake Lively's claims that she was nearly nude, he alleges her costume included a full hospital gown, black shorts, and torso-covering prosthetic to make her appear pregnant in addition to whatever personal garments she chose.
The reason Adam Shine's testimony is getting so much attention is because it focuses on something very different. While Spencer's statements are mainly about what she personally observed on set, including people's behavior and the overall environment, Adam is expected to address claims tied directly to legal filings. According to reports, he plans to argue that Blake Lively included false information in federal court documents. More specifically, he claims that certain accusations were exaggerated or created to give the impression of a situation that, in his view, never actually happened.
Page 6. I'm not going to speculate as to Miss Lively's motivations for mentioning me in the complaint. Needless to say, my experience working with her is very different than the one she described in her lawsuit.
This situation goes far beyond people simply remembering events differently. The bigger issue is whether Blake Lively may have provided false information in official court filings. If that turns out to be true, it could seriously damage her credibility and weaken the entire legal case. According to reports, Adam Shine's testimony could become extremely important because he believes the situation was part of a larger strategy. After reviewing messages, emails, and the actions of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds throughout the controversy, he claims the case appears less about real mistreatment and more about gaining leverage in a business dispute. He reportedly argues that the story was carefully shaped to create public sympathy and strengthen a business position. If a jury accepts that argument, it could completely change how they view all of Blake's claims moving forward. There are also reports that some of Blake Lively's main allegations have already faced major setbacks in court, and many believe Adam's testimony could further influence how the jury sees the case overall.
The mountains of evidence that she has, to me, so far, only shows the lengths that her and Ryan were willing to go to completely destroy Wayfair and take over their movie.
The court has also made several important decisions recently, and so far they don't appear to favor Blake Lively. One major ruling involved her request to keep certain legal documents private, which the judge reportedly denied. As a result, more information connected to the case could soon become public. And according to reports, this goes far beyond just a few emails or messages. Several pretrial filings and motions may also be released for the public to see.
If you thought that was enough drama, check this out. TV and Movie Addict is reporting that more will be unsealed. The judge said he will unseal a lot of things.
The release of those court documents has already created major attention, and many people believe the information inside painted a very messy picture behind the scenes. Earlier records reportedly revealed details about Ryan Reynolds' behavior and gave the public a closer look at how Blake Lively's team was handling the situation privately. Now, with even more documents expected to become public before or during the trial, the pressure on her legal team could increase significantly. On top of that, the judge reportedly approved a request involving attorney fees for the defense. That could mean Blake Lively's side may be responsible for covering part of Justin Baldoni's legal expenses, which in a case this large could involve a huge amount of money. Many see this as a sign that the court viewed parts of her claims as weak enough to justify compensation for the other side's legal costs. Combined with the release of additional documents, these rulings are making the situation increasingly difficult for her team. Another major issue involves claims that Blake Lively may have provided misleading information related to production decisions on It Ends With Us, including the reported firing of a first assistant director. Since that role is extremely important to a film production, any dispute connected to it could carry serious weight in court. According to reports, Justin Baldoni's lawyers believe there are inconsistencies between what happened behind the scenes and what was stated in legal filings. If proven true, that could become a major problem because it would go beyond simple disagreements and raise questions about honesty in court documents. Public reaction has also shifted over time. In the beginning, many fans quickly supported Blake Lively after the allegations became public. But as more information, messages, and legal filings surfaced, some people began questioning the original narrative. Meanwhile, many observers feel Justin Baldoni's side has remained more consistent throughout the controversy. Supporters believe that each new development has strengthened his version of events rather than weakened it, which has influenced how the public now views the case.
Blake's trial could drag on for a month, warned the judge who will preside over the case. Judge Louis Lehman told jurors that the case between the co-stars of the movie It Ends With Us could be in court for 3 or 4 weeks after its May 18th.
The judge has reportedly told jurors to prepare for a trial that could last between 3 and 4 weeks starting May 18th. A case expected to run that long usually means there will be many witnesses, extensive evidence, and detailed legal arguments from both sides. For everyone involved, this is likely to become a lengthy and intense process. And with major reputations, careers, and large amounts of money connected to the outcome, the stakes could not be much higher.
The judge revealed that potential jurors will be asked if they would have a problem giving Lively $0 in damages.
One interesting part of this case is the legal strategy Blake Lively's team appears to be using. Reports suggest her lawyers are drawing comparisons to the well-known Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial. In that case, Johnny Depp argued that false public accusations damaged his reputation, and the jury ultimately sided with him. Blake Lively's legal team now seems to be making a somewhat similar argument, claiming she became the target of a coordinated online campaign designed to hurt her public image. Their position is that the negative attention surrounding her may have been shaped by online influence and public pressure rather than the full reality of the situation.
New filings suggest the actress plans to invoke the widely reported defamation battle between Depp v. Heard as part of her strategy against Justin Baldoni. Blake argues she faced a similar online pile-on fueled by reputational attacks.
From a legal perspective, that strategy makes sense. The Depp trial became one of the biggest celebrity court cases in recent years, and many people believe Depp had been unfairly portrayed before evidence was fully examined. Blake Lively's lawyers may hope that by making those comparisons, the jury could start viewing her situation in a more sympathetic way and reconsider how they interpret both her actions and her claims. At the same time, every case is different. The jury will ultimately focus on the actual evidence, testimony, and facts presented in court rather than simply comparing it to another celebrity trial. Still, many believe it's a smart move by her legal team because it helps shape a more favorable narrative around her side of the case. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's legal team has continued to stand firmly behind its version of events and has remained consistent with its overall argument throughout the controversy.
We want the truth to be out there. We want the documents to be out there. We want people to make their determination based on receipts.
So, what does all of this mean heading into May 8th? According to reports, the case now looks very different from how it started. Most of the major allegations that originally drove attention to the lawsuit are no longer part of the trial. What remains mainly involves technical claims connected to the production company, Wayfarer Studios, rather than direct accusations against individuals. Because of that, the entire dynamic of the courtroom has reportedly shifted. Instead of entering the trial focused on claims of mistreatment, Blake Lively is now expected to spend much of the case defending her own actions while facing a massive counterclaim reportedly worth $400 million. That changes everything strategically. In most lawsuits, the person bringing the claims controls the story they want to present. But when you're defending yourself, the focus turns toward your behavior, your decisions, and your private communications. Reports suggest Blake could face detailed questioning about emails, text messages, interactions with crew members, and what allegedly happened during production. And according to legal observers, this becomes even more difficult now that some of the earlier allegations are no longer central to the case. Witnesses like Talia Spencer and Adam Shine are also expected to testify about what they personally saw behind the scenes. Many people following the situation believe Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds originally expected their influence, celebrity status, and strong public support to pressure Justin Baldoni into quietly settling the dispute. With their Hollywood connections, public image, and major media attention, some think they assumed Baldoni would avoid a long public fight. But instead of backing down, Baldoni reportedly responded with a massive counter-lawsuit and pushed for complete transparency in court. According to reports, he requested that emails, text messages, recordings, and other communications be made part of the public record. That decision appears to have completely changed the direction of the case and is one of the biggest reasons the controversy has continued to grow.
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them of defamation and extortion.
Once everything started becoming public, the entire situation reportedly changed. When private messages, emails, and internal communications are exposed, it becomes much harder for either side to control the public narrative. And according to many observers, some of the released documents created serious problems for Blake Lively's side. Reports claim that Ryan Reynolds' messages showed him speaking harshly about production staff and executives, which critics argued came across as intimidating rather than protective. At the same time, Taylor Swift, who was reportedly close to Blake, appeared to distance herself after concerns grew that she could become connected to the legal discovery process. There were also reports of major problems involving the PR team hired to manage the public image surrounding the case. Internal disputes, lawsuits, and accusations between different parties reportedly turned the entire media strategy into chaos. Instead of helping control the story, many believe the situation only created more negative attention. According to supporters of Justin Baldoni, nearly every part of the original strategy backfired. Baldoni refused to quietly settle, more information became public, and the connections that were expected to strengthen Blake's side allegedly became liabilities instead. Now, with the trial approaching, Blake Lively is reportedly facing a courtroom where key allegations have already faced setbacks, witnesses are prepared to testify, and the massive counter-lawsuit remains active. At the same time, many people have noticed how differently Justin Baldoni handled the controversy publicly. While the legal battle and media coverage exploded online, Baldoni stayed almost completely silent for months. He avoided public arguments, didn't post lengthy statements, and largely stepped away from social media during the height of the drama. Then, on May 12 last year, around Mother's Day, he finally returned with a simple family photo featuring his mother, wife, and children. The post didn't mention the lawsuit, Blake Lively, or the ongoing controversy. Instead, the message focused entirely on family, love, and gratitude. Many fans reacted emotionally to the post and praised him for staying calm throughout the situation. For supporters, the quiet approach spoke louder than a public defense ever could. When you compare Justin Baldoni's calm and steady approach with how Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds handled things, the contrast becomes very clear. According to reports, Blake Lively's team spent months trying to shape a specific public narrative, pushing the idea that Justin was responsible for a toxic and difficult work environment. Their strategy focused heavily on controlling the story, managing public perception, and building pressure through media attention and legal action. But Justin Baldoni's response was very different. Instead of engaging in constant public arguments or PR battles, he stepped back from the spotlight for months. When he eventually reappeared, it was with a simple family moment shared on Mother's Day, a photo with his mother, wife, and children, with a short message focused only on gratitude and family. No comments about the case, no accusations, no public back and forth. Many people saw this contrast as striking, one side involved in ongoing legal and media conflict, and the other presenting a quiet, personal moment centered on family life. Supporters of Baldoni believe this reflects his true character, pointing to testimony from individuals like Talia Spencer, who is expected to describe him as respectful, kind, and focused on his work. They argue that her account aligns with how he presented himself publicly during the height of the controversy. From that perspective, they say her testimony could help reinforce the idea that there is a major gap between the allegations being made and how he actually behaved on set. At the same time, reports about the court proceedings suggest that many of Blake Lively's claims have already been significantly reduced or dismissed at earlier stages. According to those reports, a large portion of her original legal arguments did not move forward as planned, and some defendants were removed from the case entirely after judicial review. Overall, supporters of Baldoni believe these developments, combined with upcoming witness testimony, will play a major role in how the jury ultimately understands the situation.
10 of her 13 claims are not making it to trial. All of the claims that she made about harassment, really, it's just retaliation.
As May 18, 2026 approaches, the situation is becoming more intense. Blake Lively's legal team is now under growing pressure as their overall strategy has been steadily weakened by recent developments. Witnesses who were directly involved in the production are preparing to speak in court, and their accounts will be heard in full by the jury. At that point, public narratives and media spin will no longer matter in the same way, only the testimony and evidence presented in court will count. This trial is shaping up to be a key moment where all sides finally present their version of events under legal scrutiny. Based on what has been reported so far, many believe the case has taken a difficult turn for Blake Lively's side, especially as the focus shifts from public opinion to courtroom facts. In the end, the outcome will depend entirely on what the jury hears and decides once all evidence and witness statements are presented during the trial.